Hi, I'm Akin Asma, and good day to everyone. I'm going to start by going over the user side part of the app. Primarily, we would like to show and explain to you the Ulayaw as to its technical aspects. So accessibility, before a user can log in, they must complete the following steps. So the system requires user location. This is going to be used later after the SBQ assessment. So let's allow that. We also need to accept terms and conditions. To that, to do that, let's click this button. The following words are us researchers informing them that we will follow the law and that their data will only be shared with researchers. So let's agree to that. Then we log in. For now, we have no account. Let's register an account. So this is my name. Okay. And we can see a notification, which is the email has been sent to Making Asma. So let's check our email. And then we would see an activation link. And all we need to do is click the link, and a beautiful interface would pop, and then activate your account. So sign up success, and give me login now. So you can X this one, and that's login.
It's me, Makin.
Yes, sir.
The panelists can also use or access the Olaya through this link that was sent by Makin. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, that is correct. So let's log in the user, and then the first message is a greeting to the user and verifying their name, age, and gender. The second message informs the user that the information is secured with us and confidential to us. Before I go into the ABCCBT Thought Diary tool, let's take a look at our SBQR assessment tool, which you can access by entering the code provided by the admin side of the app.
Okay. Login as admin must be part of the listed emails that we prepared in the app. For now, all of our UIC emails are listed in the app. We have a dummy account, but I would like to use my UIC email. So, and we can see at the bottom of the table the newly registered user. At first, there are no records of assessment result, ABC, and details. To create a code in admin, just click the create code button and put the user's email address. The code will be sent to the user's email address, and the admin can also send the code to the patient for further verification. Let's go back to the user side and check the code which was sent to the user's email and input it on the chatbot.
For this demo, I will show the low risk part. So these 4 questions have been translated and validated by Dr. Virgin Mamonong. Each of the choices in each question has its own score, with letter A being the lowest, and the last letter being the highest. So let's select all the lowest scores for each question. the responses of Olaya would not vary if the user is low or high risk. But on the admin side, they would see the user's assessment result and decide whether to hand over the user's details to a professional. So, meron ka bang kasama ngayon? So, I would say meron. And then we can input the details sa kasama ng user. So, yung ito. So, nais kong panatilihing mong makiugnay kay Vernaliza, maaari mo siyang kausapin o bigyan ng indikasyon na naaayon sa iyong nararamdaman o naiisip. Then, the second message is telling the user that their data is private. Then, the third message is ini-introduce na namin ang Thought Diary tool dito po. Then, dito naman, makikita yung feature na nearby hospitals and police stations, lifeline authorities. Pwede po natin i-click yung red circle para makita yung current location, and then next is the nearby hospital or clinics, and then the next is the nearby police station. At na-full screen din po siya if in case gusto ng user na makita yung place na gusto nilang puntahan. So, ganyan po. Okay. Then we produce Thought Diary JF para naman po interactive yung chatbot. Makikita din natin sa email ng admin na nag-create ng code sa user na ito, yung SBQR result ng user. So, let's just wait po. So we can see here, the user as Makin has result of low. And that would be all for our SBQR assessment demonstration.
So the next part of the Ulayo chatbot is the Thought Diary ABC model. So what is Thought Diary? So basically, it is the gathering of negative thoughts from the user. So the first part is to click continue after the SBQR. So the the ABC model is allowed for the user who has no code. So basically, yung mga user na walang code, pwede lang silang mag-direct. After login nila, pwede na silang mag-click to continue kung wala silang code. So the first part is selecting the emotion. The question na ibibigay ni Olayo, "Hi Makin, natutuwa ako na narito ka ngayon. Siguro maaari nating simulan sa pagkuha ng iyong nararamdaman. Pumili ka ng isa dito sa ating emotion box na yung pinaka nararamdaman sa ngayon." So for example, sa face ko ngayon, ako ay kinakabahan. I-click ko yung emotion. So done. So only isa lang po ang ma-click na emotion na doon sa emotion box. So the next is, base sa iyong napiling mood, mayroon ka bang idea kailan, saan, paano, at kailan ito nagsimula at gaano mo ito katagal nararamdaman. So ang response ko dyan, nagsimula ito nung Sabado. For example, habang hinahantay yung final defense, ako ay kabado, baka di ko kayanin. So after that, the chatbot will process the message using the AP GPT AI. So this is the responses of Olayo given to the AI and will further explained by Makin on how it was generated.
So the OpenAI GPT-3 API can be applied to virtually any task that involves understanding or generating natural language. Basically, GPT-3 AI was trained on a 175 billion parameters. It was trained with data from Common Crawl, web text, Wikipedia, and a corpus of books. When we say 175 billion parameters, this could be not necessarily words, but the way the words are represented. To understand this 175 billion parameter clearly, let's look at what a parameter looks like. Let's look at an example here. In this example, the input 1 outputs 10, input 2 outputs 20, and the input 4 outputs 40. We can see a pattern here, a specific number that explains the relationship between the two columns. And that guess that number is number 10. And so we can say that the answer of 3 is 30. That is a simple explanation of a parameter in layman's terms. It is the prediction based on a pattern from the previous examples that you have given. In this example, it was number 10. In this example, it was 1, 10, 2, 20, and 4, 40. As a result, GPT-3, which is owned by OpenAI, has 175 billion parameters because it was trained on almost all of them in text. And what I have shown you is just one of them. Let me show you the proof of this by going on the GPT-3 playground. We can see the example earlier here converted into an input and output format. We can see this input and output pattern throughout my explanation later. So let's just confirm if the 3 outputs 30. So let's run the program. So we can see that it learns from the previous examples that it was given. So, but first, let's look at Olayao's first response here. We can see that the first response was about the topic of the user. So topic, kinakabahan sa final defense. At final defense. The generation of topic is based on the GPT-3 API that we use. The algorithm behind that API is called topic modeling. It's a task under machine learning and language processing wherein, given a certain input, you are to extract topics out from it. The words are being transformed into a certain representation in which, after transformation, the generated number of parameters is 175 billion. So let's look at it in the playground. So the description, or what we want the API to do, is given as an input to the model. But we also have to give it a number of examples to train the model to generate the kind of output that we want. So inform the model that we expect topics when we provide this input description, we must provide 2 or more of user input and topics of the user input, and then user input, and then topics of the user input, and so on. And between these examples, we have the settings that we use in the following. So we use DaVinci Engine because DaVinci Engine is good in understanding the intent of text. Zero temperature to avoid randomness of output. 60 tokens. 1 token is 4 characters for normal English. Text English. Enter button. Stop sequence to define the input, output, next sequence. This is just to separate the sequences of input and output examples that we have here. Tap 1 tap P to generate text with accuracy and correctness, and 0.89 frequency penalty to prevent word repetitions, and lastly, 0% penalty to prevent topic repetitions. This information were not included in the manuscript that we submitted, but we intend to include this information. Next is the generation of second-person narrative. Let's look at Olayao's second response here. So, okay, nalaman ko na kinakabahan ka habang naghihintay ka ng final defense. Nag-aalala ka na baka hindi mo kakayanin. So, this second response of Olayao are just converted first-person narrative from the input of the user to second-person narrative. And it also has its own unique settings in here. So, and finally, is the generation of therapist-like response. So, ikanalungkot kong marinig na nai-stress ka. Kung ito ang unang pagkakataon na makaramdam ka ng ganito, nire-recommenda kong magpatingin sa isang therapist. Makakaisip kami ng mga paraan para matulong. So, this answer is Google translated. So it is not accurate. Sometimes the Google Translate is not accurate. So we have a solution to that. which is to translate it to English. So we can see it is activate. I am sorry to hear that you are stressed. If this is the first time you are feeling this way, I would recommend seeing a therapist. We can figure out ways to help you cope. And then we used our second data set, the council chat data set, specifically the user questions and therapist answers column in the Excel file. The responses of Olayo could be in a form of acknowledgement of the concern of the patient. Sometimes it would be a recommendation as to what would be the possible things that the patient could do or somehow a consolation. Olayo would console the patient regarding to the feelings. And that's all for our OpenAI GPT-3 demonstration.
So after the processing of the chatbot Olayo, so the next part is the Olayo would ask if meron pa o meron ka pa bang gustong sabihin. There's the buttons that is served to the chatbot. Chatbot. First is, oo, meron pa. The next one is, wala na. So let's try to click, oo, meron pa. So after clicking that, the user can input detailed responses like, kinakabahan ako ngayon, New Year dahil pakiramdam ko maraming responsibilidad ang darating. So again, the same thing, magpa-process pa rin si Olaya for the GPT-3 responses. So the response is the topic, kinakabahan sa tuwing bagong taon, tas bagong taon. Then, okay, malaman na ang kinakabahan ka ngayon, bagong taon, dahil pakiramdam mo maraming responsibilidad ang darating. Napakaganda nito, nirekomenda kong magpatingin sa isang therapist, matulungan ka nila at maharapin ang iyong mga nararamdaman at bumuo ng mga bagong diskarte sa hinaharap. So, you can translate in English, then kung si user wala nang gustong sabihin, maaari niyang i-click yung wala na. So after that, after clicking the wala na and after inputting all those activating events, the thought diary chart would appear on the left side of the screen. So as you can see, there is activating events, counsel, consequences, belief. So the next part, back to the chatbot, chat box, I mean. So there is two balloons. These are the quick responses given to the user's response to the activating event. So ang next process ni Olayo ay ang lahat ng iyong binahagi ay parte ng dahilan o kaganapan o ang acting event. Pwede ka bang pumili ng isang kaganapan o na inainahad mo? So this part, si user ay pipili ng mas or gusto niyang pag-usapan na activating event. For example, ang napili ko ay yung pinakauna. So after clicking the quick responses, it will be based on the activating event chart. The next question of Olayo, ipagpalagay mo ang iyong sarili sa kaganapan. Paano mo maglalarawan ang iyong nararamdaman o kinahihinatan? So in this part, it would be the second part of the second stage of ABC model, which is the consequences. So after given the activating events, the user would allow or required to put words that would describe his or her feelings through that activating event. So ipagpakilagyan ng kuwit or kama ang bawat paglalarawan. For example, my response ni user is galit, balisa, taranta, at nag-aalala. So after nun, ilalagay ni Olayo siya sa quick responses, tapos ipapa-identify kung saan dito yung mas top or mas pinakanararamdaman sa event na yon. So sa event na yon, na isip ko na galit ako doon. So yun ang mas na feel ko. The next question is, maaari mo bang i-rate kung gaano ito katindi? O bilang from 0 to 100. So let's put 50. So in this part, maaari mo bang ipaliwanag kung bakit ito ang iyong rate? So dahil maraming mga bagay tulad ng pagiging late at pabaya sa sarili at sa mismong gawain. That would be my response to that question as example. So in that phase, we include that question because that given to the suggestion and comment of the psychometrician that we approach, it is to help the user not to invalidate his or her feelings. So the next part is, okay, nalaman ko ang huli na kung nahuli ka sa at pabaya ka sa iyong sarili at sa mismong gawain. So inirekomenda kitang magpatingin sa isang therapist at para makapagtrabaho sa mga kasanayan at pamamahala ng oras at iba pang diskarte na nakakatulong sa iyo upang mapamalaan mo ang iyong oras at ang buhay. So gayud pa man, binabanggit ko ng karanasan ng mga bagay na ito ay nakaka-apekto sa iyo. So this is, the next part is the belief. So tanungin ang iyong sarili, ilista ang lahat ng pahayag na uugnay sa activating events and sa consequences or kinahihinatnan. Ibahagi ang detalyado at nais mong sabihin. Ano ba ang una mong naiisip o na-feel sa pangyayaring iyon? So for example, ang given to that scenario, parang di ko kailangan ipagpatuloy at pabayaan na lang. Pabayaan ko na yung oral defense kasi di ko kaya sa mental health ko at sa physical aspect. So, ano yung sinabi mo sa sarili mo nung panahon na iyon? Pabayaan ko na yung oral defense kasi di ko kaya sa mental health and physical aspects. Yan ang at masasabi ko. So the next question is the self-assessment question, or napansin mo ba ang kaugnayan ng negatibong pag-iisip? So after this question would assess if the user na nakita ba niya yung pagkaibahan ng kanyang pag-iisip gamit ng ABC. So for example, hindi napansin ni user yung kaibahan ng negatibong pag-iisip niya, so mag-click na hindi. So this is would the Ulayo the converse would reply. Kapag ang isang tao ay nakakaranas ng isang negatibong na pagraramdam sa ng kaganapan o activating event sa buhay, ito ang karaniwang nasusundan ng mga negatibong paniniwala sa sarili. Dahil dyan, maaari mo bang isipin kung anong negatibong paniniwala at pinanghahawakan mo? Ang hindi makatuwirang estilo ng pag-iisip ay mga hindi nakakatulong sa paghayag at pag-iisip ng iyong sarili. So basically, this is the explanation on how the negative feelings have affect a user or those patients. So ano ang mga ito? Maaari mo bang ibahagi ang mga interpretasyon na iyong naisip? For example, gusto kong baguhin ang opinion ko sa mga sitwasyong hindi ko kaya without trying it muna. So same thing, si API GP3 magpa-process pa rin sa responses niya. So this is the responses of the chatbot. So then after, kung wala ng queries or gusto mag-proceed si user, pwede niyang i-click ang wala na. Then after that, this is the last part of the ABC model. Maraming salamat sa paggamit sa Ulayaw. Then this is there is option, oo, pwede niya i-save yung PDF file to the user, tapos pwede rin hindi. So for example, i-save ni user yung PDF file. As you can see, andun yung file. So inside the file is yung thought diary na chart. So the next part of the Ulayaw is for the admin side, if the data are being recorded.
So Mr. Eldon Bayakag would demonstrate the admin side of the app.
Hi, I'm Alden Mayak and good day to everyone. I'm going to explain what is going on in the admin side part of the app. For the admin side, first is the create code. The create code is for the patient, registered, or to registered user. Pwede din makakreate ng code si admin kahit pa wala pa nakaregister si user or magre-register pa lang after. So next, so for the assessment result, 7 is for the high, and below 7 is for the low. So if the user or the patient has a grade of 7 above, it will be rated as high, and when 7 below, it is low. So there is a function also for the ABC thought diary. You can see the thought diary result of the patient. And lastly, for the handover patient, the function for this is it will be the receiver and sender of the patient's detail. So if the patient want to be passed to another, for example, a volunteer, the details for the patient will be passed over to the volunteer or someone who has a greater experience in dealing with this problem for the patient. That's all. Thank you.
And to add on to that, we can see the handover details of the patient. So this would be the receiver email, and this will be the patient details. So that's all for our demonstration. Thank you.